everybody, welcome to Plumbury TV. My name is Brett. Today we're going to be doing the Salus It500 Internet Thermostat. Let's have a look inside. So we've got the actual box itself, the It500 Internet Thermostat, and the first item we've got is a wall plate or a blanking plate, just to cover up any old units you may have taken off the wall, which obviously have left a hole in the wall. Then we've got a Ethernet cable. It's got an Ethernet connection on both sides that plugs into the actual receiver and then connects into the router and then or home hub, whatever you've got there. So then we've got a 2-pin converter there, which converts it from a standard UK 3-pin plug, which is a 12-volt transformer. Then we've got some batteries, AA pencil batteries. Then we have a Perspex stand with an oval connection on the back of there. Then we've got the actual wall mounting plate with the oval connection, and then it's actually got an inbuilt spirit level to level it up on the wall. We've got the actual receiver, which the Ethernet cable connects into, and the 12-volt cable with the antenna. Good build quality, got some substance about it, not flimsy or hollow. Actual command module itself with an elongated oval on the back, connection to the wall plate, there you go, marries up with that, and likewise for the Perspex stand. We've got some wall mounting kits with screws and plugs. Then we'll go back to the command module. It's got a cover on it, screen protector, so it's got a bubble on it for installation and setup. There we go, we've got the receiver unit, does all the hard work. Got the cable ports, sync and reset button, and then the screws to take it apart. Then you've got the wall mounting section on the back of it. You've got the manuals, got the installer manual there, got specs and technical information. Then you've got the user manual itself, which goes more into what each individual icon stands for and how to turn the stat on and off and programming. I've got an order of operation, sort of flow chart. So the phone or laptop talks to the receiver unit for the internet, then talks to the command module, then tells the boiler to come on. Then you've got all the nationalities that the instructions are available in. Right, we'll go to the actual unit and how to use it. We'll go straight into it. Press the on button, makes it active. If you want the 17 degrees in the room as it stands. If we want it to come on, we need to raise the temperature above that. We want it to come on and heat the room up to 22.5 degrees. Press the tick to accept it, then sends a signal to the boiler, the antenna come up, and then the flame symbol now appears, telling it the boiler has actually come on. Then you've also got a house, which corresponds to a heating zone that's on. We've only got one zone in this installation. Then you've got the time, and then the number corresponds to the day of the week. It's got Wednesday in the settings at the minute. Then we've got a cog and then a global setting, which means it's talking to the internet. We're going to turn the stat off now. So it's 17 degrees in the room. We're going to tell the boiler that we only want it to be 10 degrees in our room, so we don't need any heat. In fact, we want it to get cooler. So the boiler can now go off. The unit tells the boiler to go off as it's already satisfied, as we are only asking for 10 degrees and we've got 17. We then go into settings, hold the cog key in for 3 seconds or so. Then it'll come up with days of the week and programming. Then if you press it again, it'll go up to hour, and then you press tick and then up and down to change between 12 and 24 hour. Tick again and then up and down to change the hour. Tick again to then change minutes. Tick again, then switches to days of the month. It is actually the 29th, and then up and down for the month itself. Then we've got the year, same again, accept it. Then we'll hold the cog in again. We'll go back around to programming, tick to accept programming, and then if you press the cog again, then we can actually program either from 1 to 7, which is Monday to Sunday, or we can press the cog again and do each individual days. obviously the numbers correspond to the day of the week, 5, Friday, Saturday, then Sunday. We want to do all in one go, or you can either do Monday to Friday or Saturday and Sunday separately. We're going to do straight through 1 to 7, so Monday to Sunday. Press tick to accept. Then in this case the customer wants it off all the time, so it's going to seem a little bit strange. So 0 to 100 is the first program. We're going to accept that. Accept, and then we want it to stay off, so 10 degrees it'll already be satisfied, so it won't come on. Then at 0310 we don't want it to come on either, so it'll stay off again. 0320, we're just doing this for ease and simplicity, 10 degrees, so it'll never come on. 0330, say we could ask it to come on at 0330. There we go. If we want it to come on at that time, we could then say, right, at 0330 we want the boiler to give us 22 degrees in the house. So there we go. Put 22 degrees in the settings, press accept, and then it moves to the next zone. And then at 0340 we want it to be 10 degrees again. So 10 minutes later it'll tell the boiler, well, now we actually want 10 degrees. So we can actually go up or down, but we want 10 degrees, so the boiler will then say, right, okay, we can go off now. Right, then carry on. I'll not go into in-depth programming in this video, so sorry if you were expecting that. There we go, back to the home screen. So the programming's all set. There you can see the 2 above the 1510, which corresponds to a Tuesday, which that was completed when we programmed in the hour and the month and the day. And then we'll go back into settings now. Back into programming. Press the tick key. Then Monday to Friday, Sunday. 0 to 100 is the first time program. 0310 is the second. 0320 the third. 0330 the fourth. And then, as I said, 0340 is the fifth. 0350 is the 6th program, and the final one of the day. Then back to the home screen there. Okay, right, in this case the customer wanted the heating to be off all day, and he just wants to be able to control it manually. So this is why we've set the settings off or at a low temperature all day, so the thermostat will always be satisfied in this house, because it'll never get lower or near 10 degrees. So I'm going to do, on that 4th program, I need to set it back down to 10 degrees so it never comes on. And they're not going to be up at this time of day either, so it can just flick through all its programs before they've even got up. So the last program we've got in is 0350, so they're going to be up around sort of 7 o'clock. So at between 0350 and 2 o'clock the next morning, they can control it manually, because it'll be programmed into 10 degrees, and if they want it to come on, they can do that. Right, we've got a back key. So say if you make a mistake at all and you want to go back, instead of having to go through it all and then go back round, you can go back. So there we go. Say if we make a mistake, say we don't want the hour or whatever, we can go back. Then if we don't want to do Monday to Sunday, we can go back again. And then we can go back and then back out to home. Right, we'll go back into settings again, hold it in, back round to hour, back round to programming, hour, and programming. That's the only options it's got in this unit. They've sort of cut the fat and make it a little bit more simple for use. Right, so when you ask for heat, this is what happens. The control unit flashes blue, tells the boiler to come on, and then the boiler does what it needs to do, goes through its startup procedure, and then you have the flame. There we go, the flame's lit now, and then when you tell it to go off, the lights go off on the receiver unit, tells the boiler to go off, and then the flame extinguishes. Right, this is the actual unit that connects into the internet. You've got the Ethernet connection in one side, the 12 volt connection into the other, into the plug socket there, and then into the actual home hub unit, the router there. And what we'll do now is we'll have a read through the PDF version of the user manual. So we've got the Salus IT500 Internet Thermostat, and then we'll just have a look at what the actual app looks like on the phone, and then we'll go through the sort of on-paper version of how to program and do some little bits and bobs with the actual unit itself. First of all, you've got some safety information and just what to do and what not to do. You've got the contents of the box, which we've already been through. Then you've got a flow diagram again, and then you've got the LCD overview, which gives you a brief description of the actual icons and what they all stand for. You can have a read through that and just make yourself familiar with them. Then we've got the actual main display unit. So we've got the tick, which is actually the OK button. Then we've got the back button, and then we've got the settings button, and then we've got the up and down arrows, which we're already familiar with because we covered it in the video, and then we've got the on button, which makes the screen active. We've also got some other little bits and bobs on there. We've actually got the flame symbol, then we've got the house symbol with the individual heating zones. We've got the cooling part of it, and then if we've got it in hot water mode, this is for separate setup on different systems. It tells you if hot water's selected, if it's on constant, on once, or is it on auto programming, or is it turned off. They're just some of the different system setups that we'll go into now. So we have 1, 2 and 3 system type. In the actual video we show the system 1, which is basically one thermostat that controls all the radiators in the house and tells the combi boiler to come on or off. This is obviously the most common, and this is what I've covered in the video, so I'll just touch on the others briefly. Selection 2 is for more modern systems and higher spec systems, where you can actually control the downstairs heating, and then you can control the upstairs heating as well separately, different zones. And that obviously corresponds to when the house symbol comes up with the number 2 inside it. That corresponds to the second zone. Then we've actually got system type 3, which is one central heating zone, which is like the combi boiler, but then you've also got a zone for hot water. So if you have like a combi boiler does has instantaneous hot water, if you've got stored hot water, then you'll need to heat your hot water up separately, and this unit can also be programmed up to use in that scenario as well. So these are the actual app displays and the PC displays as well, and we'll go into it more in depth. So we've got the one central heating zone system PC and smartphone control. We've got the energy save settings, which just puts a generic energy saving whatever they deem necessary as being energy efficient at Salus. Then you've got the manual version of what you actually put in and program in and ask it to do its there and then. And then you've actually got an auto setting as well, which obviously corresponds to the programming that we put into the actual unit when to come off at specific times. So that's the actual overview of the sort of pre-programmed settings, or the buttons there. Then if we jump down below, then we can actually see a screenshot of the actual PC version of the controls. So if you open up the laptop, jump on the Salus login portal, this is what you'll see. Say if you're closing the office down at night and you want to go home to a nice warm house, you can then knock the heating on from the office, ready for it to be warm for when you get home from your journey. Or likewise, if you want a hot shower and you have to actually warm your stored hot water up, you could actually put the heating on for the duration of your journey home, so you can at least have some sort of warm water to go home to. You've got the off settings, you've got the auto settings, and then you've got the on off for the central heating. You've got it on once, timed, or auto. You can actually reprogram from there as well. Likewise for the application on the smartphone, very basic. You've got the buttons that we've just been through at the top, the eco, the energy efficiency button, the manual, off. You can actually turn the central heating hot off if you're going out for long periods of time. You can actually program. You can actually change all the settings on the actual unit at home remotely from your mobile phone. say if you've been called away in an emergency or things like that, you can just turn the central heating off. Or say if you've got people in the house but you don't know what times they're going to be about, you can do it that way as well. Then if we actually go down to the how to temporary override the unit to put in a temperature of your choosing. Say if you're in between a program setting, say if it was between sort of 3 and 5, and in the programming you told the central heating to be off between then, but you was in the house that day and you wanted to override it, then you obviously that is basically a temporary override. So what you'd do is you'd make the screen live by pressing the on button, the power button. That then it would make the screen illuminate with all the different options. Then we could press up or down to put in our desired temperature. In this case it's 21 degrees. Then we can then press select to accept that. Then obviously then the flame symbol will come on, and then tell the boiler to fire up. Then we'll have obviously a temporary override activated then. So if we go down there from then, we actually can go then to one central heating control from the local control. So that means actually controlling the central heating system from the actual handheld unit itself. So this is actually referring to switching your heating from automatic to off on the actual unit itself. So again, press the power button to illuminate the unit. Then we can hold the tick and the cog together, and then it'll make the auto or off button start blinking in the bottom right hand corner. Then we can cycle through it, either set it to auto, that being your programming that you programmed the unit up with, or you can actually turn the unit off and just make it sort of redundant. It doesn't do anything. You can't even change the temperature yourself. So every time you do that, you will have to reactivate the unit by pressing the tick and the cog to make it active again, so you can actually use it to either do a temporary override or go back into the actual programming. So now we'll just cover the actual hot water controlling side of it. Pretty similar to the actual just controlling one central heating zone. So one central heating zone and then plus the hot water side as well. So same layout really, but then you've got an extra tab at the top with hot water. You can actually program up and down the central heating as per the combi boiler setup, but then you've got the extra tab, like we say. Click on that and you can either set the hot water to come on, you can boost it for a couple of hours, or you can set it to come on for a specific time, blah blah blah. It's all covered in the book really. So again, smartphone app, you can put in the desired temperature for your central heating, or you can set the water to come on for a certain amount of time. Then if we go down to the smartphone apps a bit more in depth, like I say, you can actually do the programming for the central heating, and then this time we've actually got a separate sort of app display for the hot water mode. So like I said, you can actually put it on a program, or you can actually just boost it for so many hours. So you just put your desired hours in there for it to come on for. Boost out of the actual programming, that you've already got programmed in. So right, then if we go down to one central heating zone and then the temporary override for the hot water. Say if you're in a program time again for your hot water, but you actually want it to come on. This is in theory sort of manually boosting the hot water to come on. So pretty similar to the actual just the temporary override on the central heating. So press the power button to illuminate the unit. Tick and cog key together. You can actually put it in auto mode or off, and then cycle through the rest of it, or you can just do temporary override as we went through before. These are now actually the default settings that come from Salus. What they seem they sort of come together on being sort of the most generic for most families. So 6 o'clock in the morning, time zone 1, it'll come on to set point temperature at 21 degrees. Then time zone 2 at 8 a.m. it then puts a set point temperature of 14 degrees, meaning it'll go off. Then in time zone 3 at 11 a.m. it'll come on again at 21 degrees. Time zone 4 at 1 p.m. it'll come on, it'll stay off until 4 p.m. at night. Then it'll have a set point temperature of 21 degrees again, so it'll come on at 4 o'clock, and then it'll stay on while 9 o'clock, and then it'll go back down to 14 degrees. So the house, the thermostat will be saying, right, we want 14 degrees in the house until 6 a.m. the following morning, and if it gets below 14 degrees it'll top the heat up in the house. Obviously, depending on your house, if you might want it to be higher through the night, so you might want to do it sort of that way, and just increase that set point temperature during the night, and sort of same again. So now if we go into the hot water section, you can actually see the hot water will start heating up between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. so for 2 hours in the morning. Bearing in mind, if you get up at 7 a.m. the water will have only been on for like sort of 1 hour, so you might just have enough for one person. So you might need to alter them again in settings. Then it'll come on again at 10 a.m. in the afternoon while 12, just to top the water up for the evening. And then it'll stay on, it'll go on at 6 p.m. at night while 10 p.m. For the main, obviously, usage on an evening where everyone gets showered. Viewing or changing your program schedule, so you can go into changing the settings like we did in the video by pressing the cog. Illuminate the unit. While the unit's illuminated, you can press the cog, then it goes, it illuminates the 1 to 5 icon, which corresponds to the programming. Then we'd have to press the tick key to accept that we want to do some programming of the unit itself. Then what happens when we accept that is that then we'll get some blinking numbers. We'll either get 1 to 5 blinking, or then if we press the cog again, then we'll have either 6 or 7 blinking, which is corresponding obviously to Saturday, Sunday. Or if we press the cog again, we can have 1 through to 7, which is Monday to Sunday. Or if we press the cog again, we can do Monday, press the cog, do Tuesday separately, press the cog, Wednesday, press the cog, Thursday, press the cog again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You get the picture. In between each one of them, obviously, if you wanted to program each day, you'd have to accept it by pressing the tick button. So then, after we've done that, then we can program like we did in the video. We did 1 through to 7, so then we did some programming. Then you press tick, and then it goes down to the first program. So at 0830 in this scenario on screen at the minute, 0830, they have set the temperature to be 21 degrees. Then all you do is accept that. Then it'll go through to the minutes, and then accept, and then it'll go through to the temperature. Then you can accept the 21 degrees that they've done there, and then that has actually programmed the first time zone. Then to go down to the second time zone, you would then obviously just press tick, and it'll carry on into the second time zone. This is where the manual gets a bit rubbish, because they should have probably updated the second time zone picture, because it's still corresponding to the first time zone, and automatically it knocks it 10 minutes out. So because two time zones can't occupy the same exact time. So in theory that should say 0840, so at 21 degrees. So you could then program in at 0840 for it then to go off, so the heating's only on for 10 minutes, and then you accept, and then you can just do that, the exact same principle for program 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this video is a little bit brief, don't really go into the actual ins and outs of programming, it's just going through the actual manual itself. I'll have to wait till I can get hold of a unit for a longer length of time, so I can actually do a proper programming tutorial. Obviously there's less features in the way of programming on this unit, but obviously there's more functionality with the actual heating time zones and the actual heating zones and the sort of systems that the unit can be used in, like obviously putting on hot water and obviously multiple zones. So this is just obviously covering what we did pretty much in the video before anyway. There's a few pages on all this. Then obviously if we sort of scroll down then to the next section, we sort of start covering more on sort of heating zones, either zones 1 and zone 2, which we're not really interested in because we sort of did it for a combination boiler in this video. Then if we go further down again, we actually can go into the hot water programming, either turn it on, off, or whatever. And we've got actually programming the clock, and then we've got some just useful buttons that we can press, like exiting holiday mode, holding the back key for so many seconds, turning it off, and cycling through some other options. Then we've just got the details for the actual company there. So, right, that's the